Hey everyone, it's Miss Gilbrood. I'm back with Unit 2, Lesson 2B. This is the second part of Lesson 2. We're still thinking about area of right triangles. So if you would right away grab your book and open up your book with me to page 63. We're going to start on refreshing ourselves from yesterday about how to find the area of right triangles, and we're going to do it with our friend Puzzle Penguin. So here's our friend Puzzle Penguin. He's got his pennant. He says, today I found the area of a pennant. Pennant is something a lot of times that people will wave at a game or something. It's like a little flag. And he says it's the shape of a right triangle. The base is 8 inches. The height up and down is 6 inches. So he said, I found the area because at one half, remember we said one half of a rectangle, here's a rectangle, one half of it, if we cut that diagonal, is half the area of the original rectangle. So he says, I did one half of a group of base times height, one half BH. When it's stuff is all stuffed right next to each other in an equation, there's an automatic invisible multiplication sign in there. So one half, and then there's a multiplication sign times B, then there's a multiplication sign times H. So he said the base is 8, the height is 6, so 8 times 6 is 48. Found the area of 48. So, am I correct? If not, please explain. Now, we know our friend Puzzle Penguin is always wrong. So we know that when we hear that, we know there's something wrong. But wait a minute. 6 times 8, that is 48. I think he's right. He's only partly right. Why is he partly right? Because remember, he started by taking that triangle and making it into a rectangle. And he is absolutely right that that's what he should do to start. So go ahead and draw the rectangle that he's thinking about on your paper, and I'm going to do that too. Now, I'm trying to use a touch screen here for the first time with this, so let's see if I can do it. Look at that, it's working. Cool. Whoops. And I kind of overdrew it there a little bit. There it is. So there's his rectangle. He just extended that pennant into a rectangular shape. Huh, that works perfectly. Now, here's the question though. He did 8 times 6 and he got 48. But here's the trouble. 6 times 8 is 48, and that is the formula. Base times height is the formula for the rectangle. So he got started right. But what happened? I hope you're saying, oh, yeah, he forgot to cut that in half because 6 times 8 is 48, but we are trying to find the area of his pennant, which is only half of it. There it is. So we still have to cut that in half. So when you write your response, you're going to write something like, Puzzle Penguin got started right, but he forgot he needed to cut it in half because he only wanted half of the rectangle. All right, you can finish the rest of that page on your own. And then I'm going to the next page. So I'm on page 64. So you can either pause the video, do the rest of that page, and come back and watch this part of the video when you're ready, or you can just turn in your page and skip over here and then go back. That's fine too, however you want to do it. So I want to take a look at number 16 and 17 because those are really tricky ones. So we know that the area of a area of a rectangle is base times height. We know that the area of a right triangle is a half of that. One half times base times height. One half of that. So let's take a look at number 16. And this is tricky because it's upside down. Now, it is absolutely okay if you're looking at that going, I don't see a base. It's hard for me to see a base. The base is actually on the top. But if you say, no, that doesn't make sense to me, it is absolutely okay, literally, to turn Hey, look at that. My camera turned me right side up. Cool. That was weird. It's okay to turn your book literally upside down so that the 20 inches is the base. It's okay to do that. It's also okay to even just redraw it. If you say, well, I want to just redraw it because it's confusing for me to see the base on the top. So I'm going to redraw it with the base on the bottom. So, you notice that on the side it says H. That means the height. We don't know the height. So, H, remember, anytime there's a letter in math, just means a number we don't know. If you want to change that into a question mark, the height, go for it. That's okay. So, the base is 20. The height is, we don't know. And the area of the triangle is 200. Now, it might be super tempting to say to yourself, oh, well, base times height, and it gives me 200. 20 times something gives me 200. It's got to be 10. Done. I'm done. The answer is 10. Can you figure out what's giving you trouble there? The trouble is if you do the base times the height, what do you get? You get the area of the rectangle. So I'm grabbing a different color here. If you do base times height, you're going to get the area of the rectangle. So in order to figure out what that missing height is, we need to find out what the area of the rectangle is. That related rectangle, it's not 200. I hope you're saying, oh, got it. Oh, yeah, it's 400 because there's another 200 right there. So we have to do 20 times some mystery number that gives us an area of 400. We can't just do it with the 200 and then guess. That doesn't work. So 20 times something gives us 400. Well, hopefully you're noticing 20 times 20 gives us 400. So let's try that. Let's try h equals 20. And let's see what happens when we put that back in for our triangle. 20 times 20 is 400. And that gives us the base times height of the rectangle. And then we have to cut that in half. 200. That does make sense. So h, the height, is actually 20. It's not 10. Tricky. We're going to do the same thing on number 17. We have the base, which is missing. We don't know. We have the height, which is 10 meters. Oh my goodness. I forgot to have you write in the label. Yikes. It's 20 what? On number 16, it was 20 what? 20 cows? 20 light bulbs? 20 pencils? It's inches because we notice that on the information that they gave us, we see it's inches and we see the area is inches squared. So the answer is 20 inches. Whew, glad we remembered that. Now let's go on to number 17. The base is a mystery. The height is 10 meters. Inside the area is 150 meters. So we know the area of a rectangle is base times height. So we have got to make this into a rectangle. Ooh, that was a little hard to draw, but there it is. There's my rectangle. When we do base times height, we get the area of a rectangle. So 10 times something gives us that B, that mystery B, that mystery base. 15. 10 times 15. Uh-oh, hold on. 10 times 15 gives us 150, but we're using the formula for the rectangle. The inside of the rectangle isn't 150. What is it? The whole inside here is 300 because it's 150 and another 150 for that other triangle. Now we have to do 10 times some number, and we'll put in the B, gives us 300, and that's the area of the whole rectangle. Can you take it from there? See what you can do. All right, number 18 is super, super tricky. So I'm going to pause here and erase while you go back and do all of the rest of the problems and then start this video again when you're ready for a really tricky one. Okay, so pause, go back and do all the others, and then come back and I'll help you work on number 18. All right, you're back, and this one is a challenge. Number 18, a gallon of purple paint covers 400 square feet. How many gallons will it take to paint one side of this building purple? Oops, now I'm trying to use my touchscreen. It's not working. There we go. Okay, so if you take a look, this whole building right here is looks like it's a giant square pyramid, which is an interesting shape for a building. And it says, we're trying to paint this one side of the building. Now, it's a little hard because it's on a curve. We have to kind of look as if we have to move our body around to see it a little bit. It's a little hard to see. So let's actually just redraw that because it would be a lot easier if we just redrew it. Okay, so let's take this right there and we're going to redraw it right here. There it is. There's the side of the building we're trying to figure out. That's the one side that we want. Now, we also see them draw, oh, that is a very curved line. That's supposed to be a straight line. All right. We also see them draw that straight line down, and they say this is a right angle, and so is that. And each of these lengths right here are 40 feet, and the height is 120 feet. So there's the picture just drawn a little bit bigger. Now, we know that a gallon of paint covers 400 square feet, but we don't know, we want to know how many of gallons will it take. And we have to figure out how many gallons it'll take on this one side of the building. So let's start just with one of these. Let's just start with this one. The base is 40 and the height is 120. Now remember, if we're going to use base times height, we've got to make it into a rectangle first. So now the area of a rectangle is base times height. Whoops, I actually did it backwards. Base times height. So we've got 40 times 120. Now, we can figure this out because with the zero trick, I know 4 times 12. I'm just going to forget about the zeros for a second. I know 4 times 12. I know that's 48. And there are 1, 2 zeros in the problem. So there's 1, 2 zeros in the answer. So I know the answer to this whole thing, this whole rectangle that we just built, is 4,800, 4,800. But don't get tricked. We need to take half of that. I want to take half of that because I only want this part right there. So half of 4,800 is 2,400, 2,400. So I know the green triangle right there, the area of the green triangle is 2,400 square feet. Did they say feet? Yep, square feet. Now, do you notice anything about these two sides? This green side and this purple side? They're exactly the same, aren't they? So we just need two of those 2,400s. So now 2,400 plus another 2,400, we're back to 4,800. So 4,800 square feet. But we're still not done. We found how many feet is on the front of that building, but we have more to do. Let's go back and reread. This is what makes the problem so tricky. So we have to keep going back and saying, did we find the answer yet? Nope, we found part of the answer. Let's find another part. A gallon of purple paint covers 400 square feet. How many gallons will it take to paint one side of this building? So we're not actually looking even for the amount of feet, a surface area that's covered on the building. We want to know how many gallons of paint we need. But hold on, it says allow half the area for the windows. which will not be painted. Okay, so first we got to start back again here with our 4,800 feet. And it says 4,800 feet is this whole entire thing completely covered over. But wait a minute, they don't want to paint the windows. So they tell us that about half that amount is covered over with windows. So again, we've got to cut it in half. So there's a lot of steps. So now we're at 4,800, but we got to cut it in half. And if we cut it in half, we go back to 2,400 feet, 2,400 square feet. There it is. So now we say we are going to paint 2,400 square feet. Okay, is that the answer? 2,400, 2,400 square feet? No. Let's go back and read one more time. A gallon of purple paint covers 400 square feet. How many gallons will it take to paint what we need to paint? So the answer is actually we need how many gallons? 1 gallon covers 400 square feet. This is a ratio problem, isn't it? And we want to know how many gallons, I put an X in there, how many gallons covers 2,400 square feet? You could write this as a table too. I'm going to erase all this. Hopefully, you're better at writing a little smaller than I am on this. And then let's set up a ratio table and see if we can figure the answer out. All right, you see, I drew my ratio table. Here's my ratio table. I wrote G for gallons and FT squared for square feet. Now, it told us 1 gallon covers 400 square feet. You've seen this in the last unit now. So hopefully you're like, oh, yeah, I see where she's going with that. It's a ratio table. I'm going to solve a factor puzzle. Where are we going to put the 2,400? Well, hopefully you're saying we've got to put it under the feet because it's a feet measurement. So 2,400 has to go there. So now you could solve a factor puzzle if you wanted, or you could say to get from 400 to 2,400, what do I have to multiply? By 6. 400 times 6 is 2,400. Remember, if you do that on one side of a ratio table, you have to do it on the other. So we're going to multiply the other one by 6. 1 times 6 is 6, of course. So the answer is 6. So we're going to put the answer up here, 6, but we're not going to leave it there because 6 what? Not 6 feet, not 6 square feet. The answer is 6. What is it under? What category is it under? Gallons. So the answer is we need 6 gallons of paint to cover that one side of the building. The thing that made that tricky is we had to keep going back and going back and going back and rereading the problem to clarify our thinking what we're trying to solve. That's a really important strategy. Go back and reread. Go back and reread. Go back and reread. Go back and reread. I should be a GIF. Go back and reread. Go back and reread. Are you sick of me saying that? I'm kind of sick of it too. So remember, if you still have questions, you can see me in office hours. I'll see you next time.